Au revoir les enfants. Au revoir les enfants. Back when all 12-year-old boys cared about was sexy books and Charlie Chaplin. At least this is what the movie tells us. What was he reading? He was reading something.
1001 Nights.
1001 Nights. 1001 Arabian Nights.
Yep. Scheherazade.
Scheherazade. Yeah. There's like no sexually explicit terms as it is nowadays. It's like you can read anything, now. But back then, it's just like the idea.
Have you read 1001 Nights?
No, but I read it. What he read.
It's not explicit.
Oh, huh? You said it's not that.
I said it's not unexplicit.
Oh.
It's not particularly. It's poetic, but it doesn't hide a lot.
Oh, well, they don't say the F word. That's my point. That's my main point, Anyway. Did we do it? No, we didn't say hi. Hello there! CriterioNate here. This is Megan again.
Hello.
This is her. She's still here. Yeah.
I am. I never go away. Except I'm going away after this one.
Yeah. Because the next one is at Malle. What is the next one? Oh, Ozu. Ozu's good, but even Ozu, you'd have to watch some more Ozu.
I can't bring my French cinema
to
experience.
Japanese. True. And again, you'd have to watch other Ozu movies like Tokyo Story or
sure. Yeah.
First, because that was like his big hit,
Of course, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But anyway, so final piece of the Malle 3 films by Louis Malle puzzle, number 330. Louis Malle's say the title.
Au revoir les enfants.
She says it so much better than me. I'm not gonna say it this whole rest of the review except for this song because yeah. 1987, 101 minutes, color, Monoro French, blah blah blah. And there's some German in there too, but they ain't translating the German because. Huh?
A little.
Oh.
I said a little in German.
Un poco. That's Spanish. Yeah.
There's no Spanish in the film.
Huh?
There's no Spanish in the film.
Well, yeah. So anyway, this was definitely the best of the three. Of the three movies, I think this was definitely the best. I was thoroughly impressed by this one. Yeah, and Megan's just overcome with joy. She found out
joy is the right word.
Well, she was overcome by this movie. It's a trip and a half. Yeah, this is a great movie. Definitely way better than Murmur of the Heart or La Comme Lucienne. Again, I mean personally, because of my feelings for Miles, I don't know if it's going to be better than Elevated to the Gallows, but we shall see what we shall see. Although Malle, continually said that he seemed to be getting better with every film he made, and so he was learning. Yeah. And Elevator to the Gallows was his first film. I think he was only 24 when he made the film.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. So I think that's what I heard in the supplements from.
Boy, that makes me feel unaccomplished.
Yeah. So anyway, so plot. Spoil it. Julien, he's a 12-year-old boy who sent to boarding school.
Catholic boarding school.
Catholic boarding school. Thank you. And he, he's kind of his mommy kind of, watches over him a little bit,
Yeah, he's a mama's boy. He's the baby.
Yeah, but he acts all tough when he gets there. He's like, don't step to me. He's kind of like that OG kind of style.
He's so full of BS.
He is. He is. In the end, he is. In the end, he almost pulls off a perfect Lucienne. He stares a lot in this movie.
Yeah, but it's not a brooding stare.
No, it's not a brooding. It's a very scared stare. He's like very frightened. It's
confused 12-year-old boy.
Confused, uncertain. Yeah, exactly.
Brooding 17-year-old boy.
Yes, exactly.
Entirely different stares.
So, certainly. So Julien goes to the school, and Julien wets the bed quite frequently, and. Not that that's integral to the plot, but he does get teased for it later in the movie, and
I think it's important to his character.
Yeah, I mean in that if everybody thought he was tough, then they find out he wets the bed, you're not so tough, and he explains he explains, he's like, he explains that, like, you know, he dreams about peeing, and he has his fly open, and he wakes up and his sheets are wet, you know. I don't think I've ever had a dream about urinating, though. I don't think I've ever had one of those dreams.
I don't think I have either, but I mean,
like standing at a toilet, you know,
is wide and wonderful.
Yes,
and life is a rich tapestry.
Especially in whatever month, 1943, 44?
January.
Oh, so it all happened.
I don't know if it all happened in January.
Okay, because I wasn't sure about the time period. I knew it ended in January 1944, but
I think it also started in January because they were returning after the winter break.
Oh, it's true.
That
is true. Yeah, so it was within just a few weeks, probably.
Yeah.
You know, all the events of this movie. I wasn't sure. So chronologically, if we're thinking of these movies chronologically, this was the earliest. Then La Comme Lucien, then Murmur of the Heart, because I think Murmur of the Heart was 54.
Oh, like historically?
Yeah, historically, chronologically. You know, historically it'd be Murmur of the Heart was, I think, 51, 54. It was after the post-war movie. I know you've not seen it, but just remembering my thing. And then La Comme Lucien was June 1944, I think.
So this was in the middle because it was January 44. La Comme Lucien was June to October of 44.
What?
This film took place in January of 1944.
Yes.
La Comme Lucien took place in June to October of 1944.
Yeah.
So this one was in the middle, not the last.
No, this is the earliest.
Oh, the earliest. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you said that was the final one.
No, well, it's the final one in the Criterion three films by Louis Malle set, available now at your Criterion sellers like Barnes & Noble, 50% off, you know. Anyway.
Sure.
In case you want to buy it, you know, here's your chance. Anyway, so he meets a boy named Jean Bonnet, who everybody calls Easter Bonnet, you know, because...
Which is not actually what they're saying.
Oh, really? What did they say? 'Cause, so here's where I'll...
It's more insulting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's something to do with a donkey. It's a sort of colloquial insult that I didn't quite catch, but it's definitely not just Easter bonnet.
Well, I guess it's...
But it's translated Easter bonnet because
of
12-year-old boys are mean, and they also don't know how to make good insults.
And the American translation makes sense here, you know.
I still feel like it's not a very good... I still don't feel like it's a very good insult to call someone Easter bonnet. I feel like that's very 12-year-old boy, so it's appropriate. It's worth noting that Jean Bonnet is a new student in the school there, which does not happen all that often, it's implied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
He's new, and there are two other new students at the same time.
The father seems kind of just let them in, kind of.
Jean, yeah, the director of the school.
I was trying to remember what his name was. I know it was like Jean something.
Or Jacques. I don't remember.
Jacques. I think it was Père Jean. Pierre Jacques was the
Père,
real life.
Pierre.
Père
Means father.
Père Jacques was the real life, I think, father that Malle, like, it was sort of based on a real. This movie loosely based on something that happened to Malle back in '44.
His own childhood. Yeah.
His own childhood. So anyway. Bonnet is picked on a lot, but he's really smart. He's really good at math, and
he's really good at piano.
Plays piano really well. So one night, Julian wakes up and finds out that Jean has been praying in Yiddish, Hebrew. Sorry.
Okay.
And he's wearing
Was he wearing a yarmulke?
It's like a. Well, it's hard to tell because the lighting is really dark in that scene, but he's wearing the kibbut. I forget. It starts with a K.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I think there's another term for it as yarmulke. I think we're not completely and utterly sure. We should have looked this up before we started.
Probably.
We hope we're not offending anyone. We apologize most profusely.
I mean, I am certainly not a scholar of Judaism, but he is praying in Hebrew, and Julien pretends to be asleep. I don't know if he recognizes it as Hebrew because elsewhere in the film he asks his older brother, who's also at the school with him, you know, what is a Jew? You know, he doesn't understand what a Jewish person, what Judaism is, what Jewish means, and you know, his brother says someone who doesn't eat pork.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Really? He says, so why do we hate them? You know, why does everyone hate them? And his brother says, for being smarter than us and because they crucified Jesus.
Yes.
So that's sort of the extent of his understanding of Judaism at all, which leads me to believe that he probably doesn't recognize what Jean Bonnet is doing as Hebrew, but he does recognize it as prayer, and he does recognize it as something that is meant to be kept secret. So he pretends to be asleep, and I don't think Jean notices him.
I think he does, actually. I think he does look in his direction.
Yeah, but it wasn't clear if he saw that he was awake or not.
That's true. But I think at least Julian does recognize that it is different. It is like it's not.
For sure.
He definitely doesn't recognize it as French. You know.
Yeah.
So. And
sort of Julien is establishing a friendship with Jean Bonnet because Julien is not. He's not an outsider, but he's not like one of the cool kids, I guess. And so he starts to become friends with Jean Bonnet, and it becomes clear through other cues and clues, not just the prayer, but then Jean Bonnet doesn't take communion. And at one point during a service, he lines up with everyone as if to, and the father almost places the communion wafer in his mouth before seeing who he is, and just quietly passes on to Julien, who's next to him. And then the sort of key moment is when
finds the book.
Julien is snooping in Jean's locker and finds a journal, a notebook, and in the front, erased but still legible, is the name Jean Kiepelstein, which is very obviously a Jewish name.
Yeah. So Julien eventually asks Jean about this, and he gets very defensive about that because obviously he doesn't want people to know his secret, and but eventually Julien starts to sort of like him, respect him.
They establish a tenuous friendship.
He finds out that when his mother comes, I guess they call it Parents' Day, they find out that his father, Jean's father, was a prisoner, and he doesn't have any family visiting. So he asks his mother if he can join them at dinner or lunch, and so I guess we could go there. So they go out to lunch together, and they all sitting, and these officers come in and start asking people for their papers, and they almost throw out a Jewish diner, and everybody else gets really defensive. And
well, it's kind of interesting. There's a cacophony of responses when the French collaborator is trying to throw out this older Jewish gentleman, and there are people who start sort of yelling, horrible anti-Semitic things, but ultimately it's actually a German officer who tells the French collaborator to leave, to let it go, not out of any sense of justice or moral rectitude, but because he has his eye on Julien's mother.
Yeah.
And wants to impress her by making.
I thought that was just his brother, Julien's brother, just giving him.
No, he'd been making eyes at her.
Okay. I couldn't really tell. It was just
he was for sure making eyes at her.
Okay. Yeah. And then Julien asks, "Aren't we Jewish?" And I thought that was, and his mother gets all defensive, and I was just like,
of course not.
That is one of the best lines.
He says something like, "Isn't our aunt somebody Jewish?"
Our aunt's something. Yeah.
And mother says, "No, she's from Alsace." And his brother, being an obnoxious teenager, was like, "You can be from Alsace and Jewish."
Yeah.
She's like, "No, she's not." So it was really interesting, I think, in that that speaks a lot to the culture at the time. His mother tries to say, well, I don't mind Jews, except for Léon Blum.
Yeah.
But obviously she does. Obviously she's horrified at the thought of being considered Jewish, presumably not just because it would be an issue of safety, but because of the very deeply rooted anti-Semitism that that did and continues to guide a lot of European politics.
Certainly.
And Julien, on the other hand, is, aren't we? He's so innocent's not quite the right word, but he doesn't know, he doesn't understand, and
he's figuring it out as he goes along, sort of, I don't know.
And I think it's an appropriate perspective to take for this film, because I don't understand, I think a lot, I don't understand where that tremendous anti-Semitism, obviously it's not something that's justified, and so I think if you took it from an adult perspective, it wouldn't work as well. It has to be from a kid who legitimately can't comprehend.
Certainly. Where else? Joseph.
We
have to. So let's go and get this plot, because we're already at about 16 minutes, and
because I can't stop talking.
Oh yeah, no, this is passionate. So Joseph, he's the cook. He's the cook boy.
He's the boy.
And he's eventually he sells their food on the black market, and it's like
Can I
trading.
clarify that statement a little?
Oh no, please.
Okay, no, you're not wrong. It just doesn't make any sense if you haven't seen it. A lot of kids come with food from home, and they trade with Joseph, and he sells them on the black market, and so many of the students who trade with him are just as culpable as he is. It's not like they don't know what he's doing with it, which is kind of important later on. Go on.
Well, that's basically, but eventually he's caught. He's caught and thrown out of the school.
He's caught by Père Jean, and Père Jean brings the 7 students that Joseph has named as, those who would trade food with him, food from home, into his office, and he says to Julien and his brother, I would expel you right now if it weren't for the tremendous hardship it would cause your parents. Mm-hmm. And it causes him a great deal of pain to fire Joseph and not have any. It's not that there aren't consequences for the boys. They are confined to the school until Easter. They are, there are some consequences, but it's obviously not on the same level. Joseph is left with nowhere to go, with nothing. He's handicapped. He has a bad leg. It's not clear if it's, an injury or from birth, but he's essentially thrown out onto the streets. He's fired. He has nowhere. And that's, I think it's difficult for Père Jean to do that, but it's still the choice he makes, to keep the boys and not have them suffer the consequences, and to let Joseph still take the brunt of the punishment.
I'd just like to point out that if it were just me doing this, I would not have any of this analysis. I would not be telling you guys any of this. This is just...
Well, I'm sort of cheating, because right before we started this, I reread an essay I wrote for French cinema class on this film, back when I was actually doing research on French cinema. So
I just make it up as I go along.
I'm a little bit cheating.
So anyway, eventually, I think Joseph rats out the Jewish students that Père Jean has brought into the class.
And we don't know that right away. We don't. First, all we see is a German soldier coming into the class and asking for Jean Kiebelstein.
Yeah.
And that's actually a moment I want to talk about, if that's okay.
Well, I mean, outside of the fact that Julien accidentally gives him away.
Yes, and that's really interesting, because when at first he's doing a really good job of keeping his eyes on his own paper, sort of, so to speak. He doesn't look over at Jean, but then he does, as a way to reassure himself, to check, the way when someone you care about walks away, you glance back to make sure they're okay. Mm-hmm. And it's like he's trying to reassure himself, and in the process, he unintentionally outs, I guess, Jean to the Gestapo, and obviously has a tremendous amount of guilt about that because the film's chronology ends on that same day, we never get to engage with. But I think also sorry, this is going to get sort of bigger picture, but I think Julien's betrayal and unintentional betrayal of Jean is, I still think he's innocent. I wouldn't blame him, but it extends to us, like the way that the camera follows his gaze to Jean. We're culpable too, and I think it speaks to the obligation and the sense of culpability, of sense of guilt that everyone who was involved, all French, all the French people, all the German people sort of should have felt at the time for knowing and being present, and through their day-to-day actions not stopping it. So I think it speaks to a wider culpability for what happened in World War II.
Interesting.
I'm gonna let that moment go now.
No, it was fantastic. Again, I'd have been talking about. I'd have been done by now. I'd have been like, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Blah blah blah, and all that stuff by this point. But
I think that moment is just really, really pivotal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so genuine. It's so what kids do, what people do. He cares about Jean. He wants to check on him, and inadvertently harms him in the process. And I think we all do that. We inadvertently harm the people that we care about by trying to help them, and his just has tremendously more drastic consequences.
Yeah. Frère Jean is like Père. Thank you. Frère Jean is arrested, and the school is shut down, or they're denounced, and so the officers give them 2 hours to pack up all their things, and Bonnet tries to go back into hiding. He hides in the nurses, the infirmary, but he's found again.
It's not Bonnet.
Huh?
It wasn't Bonnet. It was one of the other Jewish students.
Oh, I thought it was. No, I thought he. Okay, because I couldn't tell. And there was somebody who went up to the attic, and then that was another one, or tried to go upstairs. One of the adults, yes. But anyway, they're caught. And they watch Père Jean. They say au revoir, Père, or something.
Au revoir, mon père.
Mon père. And then he says this. He says this to them.
Au revoir, les enfants.
Yeah. And then and then we see Julien, wave one look at Jean one last time before the door slams, and then we hear Julien as an adult.
It's Malle speaking.
Oh, it's Malle. Oh, that was Malle's. Okay, I didn't catch that. Yeah.
Yep, we hear Malle's voiceover.
Speaking as an adult Julien.
Saying, that I will remember every second of that January morning for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because it was based on events from Malle's childhood, although Malle didn't know he wasn't friends with any of the 3 boys that were taken away, and he didn't have any idea they were Jewish. The arrests came as a complete surprise to him, unlike, obviously, Julien's. And he talks, I'm sorry, this is getting into the supplements, but he talks in the supplements and in some of the research I did about how in making the film he couldn't have made it about himself as his actual young self, because he had no idea what was going on. And the oblivious protagonist wouldn't have worked, and so he creates the friendship instead, which I think is what drives everything.
Certainly. And that's the plot, with a lot of analysis from Dear Megan. Yeah. So this was the best one, as I say. This is the best one of the 3 movies. Yes, yeah, you did tell me. Again, Malle has struck upon gold with this one, and in the supplements, his wife Candice Bergen had mentioned that he had had some tough times with the movies he had been making. Alamo Bay and Crackers, I think, hadn't done as well as they should have, and then when Au revoir les enfants came out, just suddenly everybody just flocked to that one. That one was just a huge success, and yeah, it got nominated for Academy Award for best foreign film and foreign language film, and it didn't win, sadly.
Yeah, went to Le Festin de...
Which is number Babette's Feast. That's
Babette. Le Festin
it's number
de Babette.
670 whatever or something like that. It's one of them
I've
films.
seen it, I think.
Oh, well then she'll be back for number 6 in 3 years or 4 years or whatever number that is. All right, so we're almost a half hour. This is one of the longer reviews. Okay, we got to wrap up here. I know. You're passionate about this movie, and I liked it too.
You invited me.
If I did, didn't I? If I could get this one without getting La Comme l'Ancien or Murmur of the Heart, I would, because I dug it. But we'll just have to rely on this is one for Filmstruck. I give it an A. Give it an A. This is an A movie. I don't give out the A+ to just any old thing. You know,
I am aware. I'm saying this is one of my top 5 films ever.
Okay, fair. That's fair. I liked it too. This will definitely be the top 28 at the end of the season. Definitely. I don't know where, because we've still got 70, almost 60, 65 more films to watch.
Clearly, I have influence left to exert.
Yes, you do. All right, so A, fantastic movie, sad, tragic, but it's got a great charm to it too.
Intense.
It's very intense too. Trailer, teaser, and that's all right. So let's talk about the rest of the supplements for the Louis Malle set. Yeah, I think again, and just to wrap up my feelings on the whole 3 films by Louis Malle set. Again, I think. Unlike the other ones, where the middle one's the best one, the first one's the okay one, and then the last one's the crappy one. They just went complete backwards. Crap, okay, amazing. And this is the amazing one. So it's nice they ended on a closer, or closed on a good one, So anyway, supplements. What else? So, Au revoir les enfants. There's a profile of a guy, Guy Mague. I
don't know.
Oh, you don't know how to pronounce it? Okay.
That's not a standard French last name. I have no idea.
Okay. Guy Magan.
That's terrible. It was probably Guy Magon.
Guy Magon. Thank you. Talking about the Joseph character, just kind of just giving him like almost a little photo essay of him. There's the in the movie, at one point they watch a Charlie Chaplin film with, and this was back when you had to create your own soundtrack, and they had people playing piano and all that, and it was really different. So they have a piano player and somebody playing the violin, and so they're laughing. The kids are laughing at Charlie Chaplin, the short he did called The Immigrant. And so as a supplement, they added the complete Immigrant movie, and it's Charlie Chaplin. It's him being all weird. What do you say?
I say that. Well.
Yeah, I know. You have feelings.
I say that I hate Charlie Chaplin. But that's my personal opinion. Not
everybody was with you the whole review until this very moment when you said you hate Charlie Chaplin.
Everyone is allowed one terrible opinion. And if this is my terrible opinion, I'm going to roll with it.
I'm allowed. You know how many opinions? Somebody commented on my channel just recently before we watched this and said that I was an idiot for my review for La Ventura, and I'm like, okay, well, have you seen the movie? I don't know. Anyway, people, there are a lot of film snobs out there.
Be nice.
Yeah, I know. Let me have my own opinion.
Nicely.
I know.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Anyway, but anyway, back to this and away from people who being mean. There's some more audio interviews. We listened to a little bit of the interviews from one he did in 1988, where he talked about, it was right around the time of Au revoir les enfants. It was like a year after the movie came out. So it was still fresh in people's minds. So
he talked a lot about the actual events of his childhood that had spawned it and so forth.
And then there's another one he did in 1990, which we didn't really listen to a lot. The quality on that one is really, really poor. We just listened a little bit about him working with Bresson. And then there's 2 new interviews. One with Candice Bergen, who was his wife for I think 15 years, up until his death in 1995, 96. I think was when Malle died. I remember looking it up. And yeah, she talks about him working on the films, and again, it's like both this and then the other interview with biographer Pierre Billard. Can you pronounce it?
Billard.
Thank you. Pierre Billard. Thank you. They both seem to focus a lot. Well, the biographer focuses on the movies included in the set. Bergen talks more about a lot of his movies, not all of his movies, but more of his movies.
A lot about him as a person.
Yeah, him as a person.
Which is sort of understandable, given that
they have an intimate relationship too. Yes, so you get to see. We see footage of him. We see behind the scenes footage, which I wish there was more behind the scenes footage of him.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool to see. She's watching him film the last scenes with the final scenes of Au revoir les enfants, and then when he won the what was it, the Lion?
The César.
The César. That was it. César. Yeah. I mean, the movie did win the Gold Lion. It was like a Venice award.
Yeah.
And that was cool too. So yeah, he was. I mean, he may not have won in America. We might not have won altogether, but he won the 1970 88 award of my heart. If it, I don't think. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe Babbitt's Feast is better. I don't know, but I highly doubt it.
I'm not gonna offer.
If there are 2 kids playing piano in that movie, in this one, that one as well, then it's got a chance. Otherwise, So anyway, and that's it. That's it. Finally, so thank you. That's it. And that. Au revoir les enfants. A. She says A+. I don't blame her. It's a great stuff. Louis Malle is dude. Again, we've got...
Quality varies widely.
Yes, it seems to be. And it seems to be that may be the case with his other films. We've got so many more. Obviously, next week we're going to get to Elevator to the Gallows. And then I think later we're going to get to The Lovers and The Fire Within. I think later this season. I think next season or season after we're due... got Black Moon, My Dinner with Andre, Vanya on 42nd Street. What's the one? Something dans le métro.
Zazie
dans le métro.
Zazie dans le métro.
That one. You say it so much better.
Well, that's because I studied it for 9 years.
I know. I just got to start letting you say all the French stuff.
I got you.
Say it one more time.
Zazie dans le métro.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So yeah, we got those coming up. So the Malle train ain't a stopping anytime soon. Yeah. But that's it for today. Thank you again, Megan, for joining.
My pleasure. That's it for me for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, until Breathless, at least Breathless. Oh boy. I think she just wants me to do a reaction video to this movie, and I am planning to do some reaction videos to some of these movies. Eventually get YouTube Live set up, and all that, and get everybody commenting, even though nobody will. But who knows, maybe. Anyway, so Peter's about to die, so let's wrap this up. So that's it for today, and that might be it for this week. Originally late spring I had planned for tomorrow, but again, I've got a job interview tomorrow, and that's gonna take time away from it. If I get up early enough, I'll see if I can't do it. If not, we'll have to move this. We may do it later this week if I have some time, but again, I don't think I will. So more than likely, this will be Monday, and then Tuesday. Then next Tuesday will be Verdiana, Boniel.
I know. I actually share your feelings about Boniel.
Yeah. Then Wednesday, Fist in the Pocket. Then Thursday, no, not that one. No, not again. Harlan County, USA.
Yes, twice.
Yes, no, please, no, not that. And then that'll be Christmas. Will we do Harlan County, USA? I mean, not Christmas, Thanksgiving. Thank you.
It's not Christmas yet.
No, not yet. No.
I got time.
And then next review, we will definitely have round 2 of my Barnes & Noble pickups, because I've got some more to pick up from Barnes & Noble. So I will have those to showcase. And and then the rest, again, all the Criterion I have ordered is on its way. So Anus Amor is on its way. Anu Amor.
What?
Anu Amor?
I don't know what that is.
Amores?
That sounds Spanish.
To our love. I think it's to our love. Anu Amor. I don't know. It doesn't look promising, in all honesty. And then what is it? What else is there? Equinox, Yee, Coco Talking Gorilla. Yee, I might get Joe, because I think he has that on Blu-ray. I might get Joe to come over and do that one with me, because I think he has that one on Blu-ray. So yeah, we'll keep in touch. I'll let him know that one's coming up, and say, hey, dude, get your butt over here. Let's do another review for this season. And Coco Talking Gorilla. And of course, Elevator to the Gallows with somewhere in there. Dazed and Confused. We've got that one coming up real soon. Speaking of Linklater, I guess you guys heard the Before trilogy is coming to the Criterion Collection. I'm like, oh gosh. I knew it was coming. I knew it was happening. Before, have you ever seen the Before trilogy? Have you ever seen any Richard Linklater, like Boyhood, or Dazed and Confused, or Slacker? Or is it possible to learn to plow by reading books?
Oh, you talked to me.
I told you about that one because I like that one, and I might pick up the Slacker package just for that movie, not for the actual movie it's promoting. How much battery life do I have? Okay, I should shut up soon.
This time it's not my fault.
Yes, I know. Well, it's yeah. So anyway, so that's coming, and what else? Because they made the announcement today. What else is coming? Mildred Pierce, which I've heard of, which I've shelved a billion times, and now I get to shelve the Criterion version. Whoa. And I think some other movie that I can't remember. So anyway, so that's happening, and movies are coming, and then first full week of December, we will get to the Eric Rohmer 6 Moral Tales, and from there on, the rest is, and then we'll be, I think, halfway through the season. It'll only be December. I like it. We'll have to start planning some rewatches and some Eclipse. Woo-hoo. I'm excited. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you again, Megan, for joining me on this thing called the Movie Channel. It's not called the Movie Channel. It's called
It's not called the Movie Channel.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Don't be racist. Don't be mean to the Jewish people.
Don't be anti-Semitic.
Don't be anti-Semitic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
don't out people to Nazis.
Don't out people to Nazis.
That's
Thank
not cool.
you. And don't sit in tubs and reflect on life when other kids are trying to take bathtub things.
And sure, that's absolutely the moral of this movie.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the morals. That's the
probably
first one I can come up with. And so that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you either later this week or next week for some Ozu called Late Spring. And until then, goodbye. Au revoir. Thank you. Dang it. I could have said au revoir. Now I'm going to say it. Au revoir.
Au revoir.